Hello, welcome everybody. We are so excited to have you guys here. We are doing our free webinar from chaos to greenhouse, turning AI unpredictability into opportunity. And we're so honored to have our friends Peter and Will from Allspice Labs team with us today to explore how food creators can use AI tools effectively and ethically. We were actually just talking about some of the big news that we came across today, right, Peter? We saw that Disney just sent a cease and desist to Google for some intellectual property with AI overview and some other things. We're seeing that across the board. So pretty exciting that we can turn this into something that can be an opportunity for us as creators. And I'm so excited to hear what Peter has to say. But a little housekeeping before we get into that. We always publish our recordings as a replay and Tastemaker Collaborative, so please double check your Zoom settings and make sure you're muted at all times. If anyone has questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to drop them in the chat and Peter will answer at his discretion. If we don't get to your question in real time, though, don't worry. We'll circle back in the last 10 minutes of the webinar during a live Q&A. And speaking of chat, our presenters love when you chime in and participate. This is a very exciting topic. I think a lot of people are, this is new and we are all looking for answers. So please chime in and we'd love to hear what you have to say throughout the presentation. Please remember to keep all comments respectful of both the presenters and your fellow attendees. And with that, Peter, thank you so much for being here today. We'll turn the time over to you and let you get started with what is sure to be an amazing presentation.
All right. Thanks so much. And it's nice to see everyone and some new faces, some people I recognize. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And Janice, if you just want to let me know when it is sharing, we should
Good.
be good. All right. Good.
Yep, looks great.
All right. So we are just talking about in this presentation just AI at a high level, some of the macro trends, and then what we've done at Allspice Labs in our studies and research to build a product around some of these trends and give creators a tool that they can utilize to help them. And the analogy that we keep coming back to is from chaos to greenhouse. So taking all of that unpredictability and using it like a greenhouse to help your recipe blog flourish. And please feel free if you have any questions, again, just put them in the chat and I will monitor that. It will as well as on my team here today. He'll help monitor. But just to give you a rundown background of our team here at Allspice and the team that created it, Brandon and Will are both developers. They've created multiple apps on the App Store, built games. So when you think about just user experience, they've built that, got hundreds of thousands of people playing their games on the App Store. I used to do AI consulting for financial services companies in New York City. And Ashley worked for 20 years with CPG brands, helping them with PR and do influencer deals. So it comes from the perspective of a brand, of a CPG, and what they are looking for. So just to begin, I wanted to just level set and explain AI and Gen AI to everyone. For those who are not familiar with it, we obviously use it and we know it, but how does it work at a high level? How has it evolved? So an analogy I like to give is think of a wizard, right? And think of a spell book. So in this case, AI is like the wizard. And think of a wizard's ability to read a spell book and then learn the spells within the spell book. That is machine learning or ML. That then evolved to AI. So now think of a wizard's ability to read a spell book and then perform very specific spells during certain scenarios. That is AI. Then the evolution of that is thinking about reading a spell book, intellectualizing the spell book, and then being able to come up with spells that have never existed before and have aren't used in any scenario or whatever. That's generative AI, and those are the tools we interact with, like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. But there are different purposes for each of these different categories, and they kind of just fall into each other. So obviously, there's a lot of value that people get out of this. There are very specific models. People are finding new cures to diseases, medicine. It's obviously super helpful for productivity and planning. And AI has taken over everything. It is everywhere and it's powering everything. But there's key things that people need to understand in that it has lots of limitations, especially around these general purpose AI. So if you think about ChatGPT or when you go to Gemini, those are general purpose and they're not designed to focus on a very specific domain or tasks. So oftentimes you might find if you're asking it questions or looking for it to help you with something, it'll get like 95% there, but it won't be like 100% accurate, or it'll miss little tidbits if you truly are an expert in that domain. And this is important because it has gaps and it can be wrong and it doesn't have a real domain understanding of everything. So what we did is at Allspice, we wanted to figure out which of the top AI models are the best within the cooking sphere, right? So we took 19 different topics of asking it around recipe substitutions, taste, smell, allergies, expiration. And we put together 5,000 questions and we gave those questions to each of the models and then graded it based off of how much energy they take up and how accurate they are. So in that study, we found that some models are obviously much better than others, but Gemini, the newest Gemini model, is the best. So 93% accuracy across those topics, followed up by Claude, which is a close second. But we also found that Claude is much, much more expensive for it to be run. And so you're likely going to need a premium subscription down the line, whereas Gemini is able to give you those answers at a much less exhaustive rate, being able to be more scalable, and you can use get better answers from the free versions. Perplexity, OpenAI, Grok, they definitely fell short. But we do keep seeing that these models are leapfrogging each other. But Gemini across the board has been the best when it comes to these cooking related questions. So next, we just wanted to talk about what we're seeing and give you some data points across threats as well as empowerment within the AI space. So a couple just bullet points. 20 million recipes get sent and scraped by AI bots into mobile apps per month. So you have 20 million recipes that could have been on recipe blogs are now going into mobile apps to cut creators out of the mix. There's generative AI content flooding your social media feed of these content farms like Sora and Google Flow, which are AI tools to create AI generated content. And there's a lot of just people misusing that for scams, as well as just impersonating other people. And then you also see just like people using it and giving out false information. On the other side of it, there's a lot of ways that you can use this to improve productivity and help. So it's not all bad. And we were just talking about there's a lot of opportunity with this. A couple things that just came out. TikTok announced that they're going to be separating out and detecting all AI generated content. So now you'll have a following tab, a for you, and an AI generated content. So it's going to detect all the AI content and it's going to separate it out. And we're seeing all sorts of different solutions come up with these misuse and threats. So with that, though, there's obviously a lot of impact that's coming up. Website traffic is down. People are going to tools like ChatGPT and Gemini. One statistic we saw was that there are over 700 million cooking related questions that go to chatgpt.com per month. So that's not even including ChatGPT's mobile app. That's not including Gemini. That just shows how many people are going, obviously, to AI to ask cooking related questions. And this is also like, because if we think like, why are people going here? It's like, it is great user experience. Like we all use ChatGPT. We all go to these different AIs because it's extremely convenient. You can get answers, you can ask anything you want. And it's designed with like the most modern technology that everyone is coming to use and love. On the other side of it, though, of what we're seeing is people are getting extremely annoyed with AI. And it's like it's taking content, it's stealing content. You can't tell if something's fit or if it's real or if it's AI, and people don't trust that. So something that AI will never be able to do and have is authenticity, trust, and like a following of real people who trust people. And so that's where like the biggest strength that recipe bloggers will be able to continue to have is not going to go anywhere. So next, we just wanted to touch a little bit on the overall evolution of how consumers, users, anyone who goes and looks for a recipe, how this has evolved and how people are consuming content online, specifically with recipes. So it all obviously started with cookbooks, has evolved to blogs, and then social media, as well as mobile apps. And now we're in the AI era. So something that's unique about this, though, is that every single aspect here is now being powered by AI. Whether you see it on the front end of like asking a question and you get like an AI chatbot response, um, they're using it one way or the other. Instagram's using machine learning and basic AI in their algorithms. TikTok's doing the same. All of these mobile apps that you see that are saying save recipes from websites into their system, those are AI scraping bots. And so everyone across the board is using some sort of AI system in the underlying technology. And so that's also why what we've tried to build at Allspice is build AI into recipe blogs and give recipe bloggers a tool that they can use to keep consumers on their page. So, moral story is AI can't replace human creativity, can't replace authenticity and relationships, but it can amplify tools. So if you use tools, AI tools to improve user experience, then that's when you're going to be able to capture all of these people who are engaged and using the maximum amount of tools to your recipe blog. Just breaking that down a little bit further on building an interactive experience for your site. So we believe there's three pillars that we've built Allspice around for your site, right? So you have your inspiration layer, which is coming up with recipe ideas, your brand, your authenticity, the message that you want to tell to the readers coming to your site. And then second, it's the efficiency. So how are you getting to come to your site? That's SEO optimization. We're a big believer in using tools on social media. So for example, comment and I'll send you the recipe. One of the most effective ways we're seeing to drive traffic to your site, and that's scheduling. So the efficiency layer, as well as just going to ChatGPT and asking like about a specific recipe. They will publicly display what they're searching on the internet. So if you want to start ranking in ChatGPT, that's a great way to get started. But lastly, the place that we're really focused on and building is the experience layer. And so that's personalization. Users right now are going to ChatGPT, they're going to mobile apps because they want that experience layer. They want to be able to build meal plans. They want to be able to have interactive grocery lists or compatible grocery lists. And so that's really where the third pillar we see going that can be powered by AI. So again, just start with static recipes. You can have a list of the instructions, the ingredients, comments. But what people want and where people are going is interactive software. They're going to ChatGPT, they're going to these mobile apps because it's interactive and it's personalized. So to touch on the Allspice engine, what we did is we built an ingredient database with 10,000 ingredients mapped to branded ingredients. So if you think about what goes into bread versus gluten-free bread or butter versus salted butter, and then allergies that go into ingredients, expiration dates of how long until things expire, packaging, all of that, we built that to have AI agents that can reference that and do things like grocery lists, pantry tracking, meal planning, all of these solutions. So when we go back to the problems the AI had, like hallucination, context loss, no real understanding, the Allspice engine is the tool that allows for 100% accuracy across the board. Because it's able to reference the engine, that's how you're able to get these structured responses and the ability to get an AI that is all knowing in the very specific domain of cooking. So, um, introducing Allspice. This is how users, anyone with a recipe blog, can use it and give it to their readers. So, we're releasing this product in a few weeks to the public. But what it does is it uses our Allspice engine, and it's a WordPress plugin that you can plug in and now give readers the ability to have dynamic grocery lists, track their pantry, do meal planning, but like most importantly, just engage with your site. So now all of the recipes and everything you've put together, they no longer have to leave to go to a mobile app or ChatGPT. They can stay there because they can spend all this time talking to the AI about, hey, um, how do I make this recipe for my family of four? Can you add this to my grocery list? Or I have a cooking question. So the idea is rather than them leaving, they can now spend the 40 minutes while they're cooking on your site and not have to leave. Additionally, we've built this as a way to be an analytics platform for recipe bloggers as well, and also help you get more brand deals. So, for example, if you plug Allspice into your site, you can understand, okay, how many times does avocados show up across all of my recipes on my site? How many people are adding these specific ingredients to their grocery list and adding it to their cart? Who's interacting with different recipes? What type of questions are people asking? And so then you have a very deep understanding of which recipes, which ingredients are performing best on your site. And then you can talk to brands and be like, hey, this ingredient shows up 10 times across my site, and it's one of the most popular ingredients across the board. Um, input their product into Allspice, and then you can advertise their product across your whole entire page, and gives the ability for more analytics. So they go back to their chief marketing officer and say, hey, look, this is having a strong ROI. We're getting all of these page views. And yeah, and that's it. So lastly, I think the last page was just our contact. If you do want to get in contact with us to learn more about Allspice, go to allspicelabs.com. Email me, Peter at Allspice Labs, or our Instagram that we're just revamping is Allspice Cooking.
That
And
was
that is it.
amazing. That was amazing, Peter. Thank you so much. Our whole team is sitting here on the back end going, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing." I think we're all really impressed with, what the future holds. I think for a while there it was quite scary. I think food creators we're wondering what this would look like for them. But I like that there's opportunity, just like you said, rather than, that creativity, that human element is still so needed, but combining it with the AI tools are going to give that best result. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We think it is really important because we're at a point in time where there's a lot of just chaos of these tools and not a lot of just governance. And so I think it is a good point in time where you can give users and readers what they want and use these tools to the benefit of what they want, while also then not having to worry about kind of all the chaos in the midst.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to add on to that, I'm Will, by the way. Peter introduced me earlier. When we started building this, I think we just wanted to build a cool recipe engagement tool, right? That would do shopping lists and help with your pantry. Tell you what you have when you go to the grocery store. And so much of what we found was that all the recipes that power these flows immediately get pulled from the sites that are responsible for creating them. And with AI now, tracking that has become so much more difficult in a lot of ways because what AI does is it goes onto your site and they train on that data. They know how you made this recipe, right? And that's how they generate future recipes. So the aspect that we can recapture sort of this lost layer that has been sent, to ChatGPT and pull that back into the blog is really exciting for us in that it allows us to do one thing, grow a business, and also actually help the bloggers who are responsible for creating this content that's allowed these people to, go to ChatGPT and make whatever alterations they'd like on a recipe.
Yeah. And as you know, Abby and I are both food content creators ourselves. And so for transparency, when Peter reached out to me, always my filter is as a creator myself, how do I feel about this? And I had Peter spend a lot of time talking me through all this, letting me know what it looked like. And it really is exciting because it's not going to go away. AI is not going away, and people are going to continue to use those resources. So if we can provide those things on our own websites so that they, again, like Peter said, stay rather than leave, because the likelihood of them coming back, it's low if they leave. So I appreciate you guys and sharing that. We would love to hear questions from you guys. I'm sure our audience, this is brand new. This is brand new information if you watch Friends. But we'd love to hear some of your questions. And I know in the meantime, Abby has a few she'd like to share as well. But if you'll drop the questions in the chat, we would really love to get those answered.
Okay, well, first of all, because we have you here, I have so many questions where I just want to sit with both of you and pick your brains about your background. But I'm sorry if you already mentioned this, but if you can in more detail, like what was the genesis of this? Like what was that point when you're like, we need to fix this moment? Were you like standing in a grocery store or like on somebody's website and like hating the AI overview experience? Like what was your aha moment in building this?
The aha moment for me came a while ago in college, where I just was pretty much hopeless in front of in a kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Where I'm in my college dorm and there's four ingredients and I don't know what to make. I go home and there's 50 ingredients and I still don't know what to make. And that was
Hmm.
the very first thing where it's like, well, wouldn't it be cool if there was a tool to help you interact, with your pantry and shopping list, right?
Hmm.
And then it really just evolved pretty intensively over time, where all these new technologies came out, specifically AI, that allowed you to do so many more flexible things.
Hmm.
We identified a really big need in that um, there's so many new products coming out in the cooking space and in the recipe space, but none of them were focused on the people who are creating the recipes, right? It was all
Hmm.
how can all these new apps to pull in recipes or all these new AI tools, right, to help you interact, but nothing was focused on um, really what's at the core of that, right? Which is, well, where are
Yeah.
these recipes coming from? So that I think was the need that we identified, and then sort of tailored our product a little more after we built it.
That's incredible just because, like, as you know, things are moving. I mean, in tech, they're always moving at a very fast pace. But this last year, especially, I think with the AI shift for creators specifically, it's been the year of terror and trying to figure out. And we just had a conversation on our podcast with Ben Jabawi from Grocer's List. And, it was interesting to hear him as a founder and a tech aficionado as well to say, this coming up in 2026, 27 seems like the year that we'll be, providing answers to all the questions. Like these last few years have been a big question mark. And I like to study this and see this from just the creator lens. And it's interesting to see the people like Allspice and Grocer's List. Like you really are solving a problem and creating less friction for people. And I think that's the thing that, helps your platforms take off. So kudos to you for creating this because I think it's so amazing. And I know we have a question in the chat, but I just
But
excited to learn more.
And it's also being done with the creator first mindset. You guys are not, you're making sure, just like what you said, Will, is that at the heart of it is the creator. They're not getting
Mhm.
iced out of this situation, which is incredible. Um, so Heather wants to know if there is a demo site that they can look at.
So we'll have a demo site up shortly. Really, it should be either tomorrow or the next day is what we're hoping on. But yes, we're getting there. It's still early days. We've been going at it for a while, but the demo site is in the pipeline. We've got um, quite a few things that we have almost ready to go that we're really excited to share.
Perfect. And you will also be at Tastemaker Conference, so people can come and schedule 15-minute one-on-ones with you and they can learn more about this. Peter, do you mind if I share that I chose, after listening to we've had many conversations, to utilize this on my website. So we're working on getting that on my website. And as a creator, it takes a lot to allow anything to become part of what you do. And so some of the questions that I asked Peter, so you can answer those again, Peter, is how is this going to help? Like, what does this look like for ranking for people? Is this going to change rankings because you now have the answers there on the website? I'm going to guess likely not. From what I remember from our conversation, but I know that that's a big thing because usually they use the body of the text to answer a lot of the questions now that this tech will be able to answer. So can you speak to that, Peter?
Yeah, rankings regarding to in
SEO.
in SEO. Yeah, so Allspice is not it lives on top of your site. So it's not going to have any sort of impact on your ranking. And I think a key point on it is it does not affect any of your core vitals. So core vitals in your site speed and what goes into as a parameter for search engine optimization, it will not impact any of that or slow it down. If anything, right? Like there are a bunch more just different types of links if you're in the Allspice ecosystem of linking to your recipes and sites. So that could be something that could benefit it, but overall it's not really like an SEO
Right.
tool.
Correct.
We've
So the
made
two, oh, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, we just made very certain that we wouldn't negatively affect anything, which was something that we were really focused on. I do think there's potential down the line, right, with having more robust and standardized information that can just come from sort of the general structure that we apply to recipes whenever we, analyze a recipe and have that data, that there is potential for more SEO help down the line, but it's not something that we're focusing on.
Yeah, two of the things that stood out to me most was number one of the things that is a huge benefit though is it can increase our ad revenue by keeping people on the site
Mhm.
longer. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. That was huge. We want people to stay as long as possible and we want them to come back because they had such a great experience. So repeat customers and staying on your site longer are two things that can increase your ad revenue. And this helps do that. The other thing, which I'm so excited about, is that you guys are also now working with some major players in the food space as sponsors who want to work with creators. For example, can we mention a few of them, Peter?
Yeah, of the brands.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will
I'll let you do that.
yeah, I will say we're working with some of the largest CPG brands in discussions. So what we are building in phase two of this, once it's on creator sites, is I talked a little bit about the Allspice engine. So at its core, what that is we built out this ingredient database. And so I talked a little bit about what we mapped in that. So we understand that like what's produce or like what is turkey? How does that apply to a grocery list? But then we've also mapped that to over 800,000 branded products. So we understand turkey slices or boar's head turkey slices are mapped together. So on the other end of it, we're building out an advertising platform for brands to do influencer deals where they can then pay influencers, sponsor recipes, and have a robust analytics platform, then also a platform where they can place their products in two different recipes and pay creators for promoting their products.
Which is exciting. And of course, my follow-up question, which almost all of you must be thinking right now, is how does that affect our current ads on our website with Raptive or Mediavine? And Peter assured me they're very different in both like working with a sponsor on a sponsored post in that capacity or in placement where it would be different. So very exciting because there's a lot of opportunity there. So Elizabeth,
Yeah.
last question, and then I know we have to get things wrapped up. It goes so fast, but Elizabeth wants to know what about the ad page layout? If it is it compatible with ads, and have you all been in talks with Mediavine or Raptive about how this would all fit together?
Yeah. Um, we've been waiting to have in-depth conversation around the architecture of configuring that and have not been talking to them about specifically setting it up, but it will not affect anything of your ads. The way we've architected it of how it lives on your site is designed to not have any sort of effect. So our goal is just keep people on your website for longer, ads keep playing, you keep getting paid.
Yes, and more opportunities to diversify our income with more brand partnerships and possibly a different ad placement that can provide a different funnel of revenue as well.
Yeah. The
Okay, I'm just
last,
going to ask one more question. Oh, go ahead, Peter.
okay. I was going to touch on the last avenue of revenue. We are creating an additional feature. So what you will be able to do, if anyone's using like Substack here, you can on Substack put things behind a paywall of like premium recipes or premium meal plans. So there will be features in Allspice that will allow you to create create meal plans that you can give to your readers or create premium meal plans, put those behind a paywall. So you can have obviously your free content, but then you can choose if you want to have some premium content that people purchase.
Which is exciting because we've talked a lot about membership and another way to diversify income. So Sarah would like to know the cost of this product.
Yeah, so it ranges. And so there's going to be a free version, but then there's also going to be a paid premium version, depending on how many monthly website visitors that you have. Because the cost for us scales on the amount of users on your site for our infrastructure.
So very similar to Grocer's List, kind of how they have a scaled structure of payment. Okay, great. And so they can go to your website to learn all about what that exact cost is, correct?
Yes. Book time with me, we haven't publicized it yet, but it'll be in the range from a couple $100 a year to a couple thousand for some of the largest.
Okay.
And just to reiterate, there is a free version available to everyone if you just want to try it out and see where it goes. But again, it's a tool that we hope that you make money and we make money, right? From the increased engagement, extra features, all that stuff that we're putting into the site. We want to, make sure that you guys are getting the revenue that your recipes are driving, and we take a cut of that in some ways.
And we appreciate that transparency and appreciate seeing a lot of these amazing tech gurus coming up and doing new things. Like, look how quickly Grocer's List has grown. I mean, it's been incredible. And all it has done was increased our traffic and made the user experience better for our social users. So we're excited about this. I did want to mention that Alex said, just wanted to say thank you for working on something that doesn't hurt or take advantage of content creators. It's really refreshing. So that's pretty incredible. We don't see a lot of like those moments in the chat. So that was great. Thanks for sharing that, Alex. That was
Yeah,
nice.
thank you.
And thank you,
Thanks,
Will
Alex.
and Peter, for everything. I think your 15-minute one-on-ones at Tastemaker will probably be pretty full, I'm going to guess, with people wanting to chat with you a little bit more about this. But thank you for joining us. And that was very helpful. I know many of our community members here will benefit so much from what you shared today. Where can our listeners get in touch with you? Just everything that's listed here?
Yeah, this is best. So I'll also be in the Chance, what is it? The community page or the sponsor page on. So I'll put my Calendly in there. So if you do want to book a 15-minute call, do that. But then on our website at allspicelabs.com is the best place. So right now we have a wait list. It's in chronological order of whoever joins the wait list of when we deploy on sites. So I'd suggest if you want to try out Allspice, join that wait list. You can book time with me. We have a newsletter. And then lastly, if anyone has any feature suggestions or enhancements that they would like to see Allspice build, our whole purpose here is we are trying to create a product for you guys that improves your site, that makes it better for readers. So we are really at your service when it comes to that. So don't feel afraid to reach out and suggest something.
Which is pretty incredible to be on the ground floor of the dev team's efforts for Allspice right now and be the creators that are helping launch this product for creators and have it exactly. You guys have been incredible and you truly listen to what people want. So how exciting. You guys have been wanting something like this, and there's the developers who are ready to do it. So we are excited. Thank you. If you found today's topic inspiring and informative, we'd love to invite you to join us for Tastemaker Conference 2026 at the JW Marriott Live on January 9th and 10th, where Peter and I believe will be there. Allspice is one of our incredible sponsors who is coming to the conference, and they're looking to collaborate with creators just like you. So we are grateful for their support. We'll drop the link for the registration here. We're down to the last couple of tickets. We even have a special discount for those of you who joined today. If you don't have your ticket yet, you can use the code SNEAKY60 to take $60 off your ticket for Tastemaker Conference. Wherever we see you next, thank you for being here. Take care and happy holidays.
Thanks, everyone.